Good news for Grand Bahamians, the country's maritime security put to the test, and tensions rise between NIB and the Public Managers Union. Good evening, everyone. I'm Leah Cooper with your JCN News for this Thursday, March 10th. The Bahamas shipping and maritime industry is essential to economic development and everyday life in the Bahamas. Our islands are strategically placed, and it's important in the global shipping industry. And for those reasons alone, the government needs to know its capabilities and shortcomings in the event of an organized attack on major ships and port facilities in the country. And after months of planning on Thursday, it was a real exercise. Saunders tells us more.
After months of planning, on Thursday, the Ministry of Transport conducted a major international shipping port facility and security exercise in an effort to meet international standards in the event of an attack. And so there were multiple mock explosions at ports around the country. The government of the Bahamas must know its capabilities and shortcomings in the event of a real organized attack on ports and ships. And on Thursday, from the Emergency Operations Center, the EOC on Gladstone Road, we saw multiple government agencies communicating, coordinating efforts in response to explosions, fires, and medical emergencies. The first explosion took place at Morton Salt on Inagua at 10:06 a.m., followed minutes later by explosions at Princess Key, Eleuthera, Resorts World Bimini, Bahama Rock, Grand Bahama, and on New Providence at Sun Oil at Clifton Pier and the Arawak Container Port. Coordinating the national exercise, Royal Bahamas Defense Force Commander Bertram Bowleg, who shared early results from the various islands.
It was well organized. We had good cooperation, good collaboration with each unit, each agencies. Remember, we have from the Defense Force, we had ships running, ships moving from Macquarie Harbour, ships moving all over, ships moving in Inagua. And for the police, we had fire trucks moving, we had EMS, we had ambulance moving. Defense Force, we had the quick reaction forces moving. So the amount of movements that I saw happening and reports back to the EOC, I could say it was a success.
While the EOC units were ready to go, Commander Bowleg admitted that the initial information was a bit slow to come in and that there are a few areas where a lack of equipment presented challenges. However, the full scope of the strengths and weaknesses will come in a later report to the government.
The only thing that when it first started off, it got a little slow, so the reports was coming in a little slow, so we had to make some calls, make sure that persons know, hey, we on. And so we'll have to work on that part. We'll have to wait on the reports. Now, in Inagua, the fire truck, today, it was working before today, but today, you see. So these things happen. Equipments break down right before the incident, so we didn't have a fire truck in Inagua. We didn't have no ambulance in Inagua either. So, we are now finding out that they are listening up. If this incident happened, we might have to buy some equipments for some of our family islands who does not have the assets here, like New Providence has.
Again, although the exercise went well, there were some deficiencies identified on some of the family islands, like no working fire trucks or ambulances on Inagua, resulting in delays, taking 32 minutes to extinguish the fire there on Inagua. While, on the other hand, Resorts World Bimini, that has its own fire truck and ambulance, was able to extinguish their fires in just 12 minutes. Minister of Transport and Housing, JoBeth Kobe Davis, visited the EOC on Gladstone Road to observe the communications process. And according to Antoinette Thompson, Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Transport and Housing and the chairperson for the Advisory Committee,
well, the minister expressed her gratitude for such an exercise to occur because she realizes that there's a need for us to do some introspection as to what we have available out there, what resources are needed, what courses of actions are needed, what lessons we've learnt, what we need to do to remediate, what deficiencies there are, and basically the fact that we are looking to ensure that we are safe, particularly in this particular time and dispensation in the world.
Minister Kobe Davis is also of the opinion our islands are strategically placed in the world, and shipping imports and exports are vital to our economy and daily lives, so we must ensure a high level of safety and security. Meanwhile, the national security exercise also included representatives from Interpol and the U.S. Coast Guard that observed. We'll have more on this training exercise in a later report. Saunders for JCN News.
Royal Caribbean International will not be attempting to acquire the Grand Lucayan Resort. We learned this much from RCI's president and CEO, Michael Bailey, yesterday in a sideline interview with the media. Despite this, RCI is still dedicated to the island of Grand Bahama.
So we had a great ambition for Grand Lucayan, and then the pandemic hit, and of course things changed quite dramatically. We're still hopeful and committed to being part of a project in the long run for Freeport, obviously, and we're in discussions with the government.
Mr. Bailey did note that they are in other discussions with other future partners. Now, our news team was able to speak with Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, to get his response.
With respect to the Grand Lucayan Resort, as you know, the period for offers closed on March the 2nd at 5 p.m. We do have several firm offers that we will begin the process of shortlisting over the next several days, and I anticipate that by the 17th of March, when I speak at Grand Bahama Business Outlook, we will have an opportunity to make a further statement. As it stands, we do have several very credible offers, and that's all I can say today, subject to the confidentiality of the matter. And therefore, I hope to be able to share more with you in due course.
Now, DPM Cooper has gone on record to say the government is seeking $150 million for the resort in Grand Bahama. However, he was unable to reveal if any of the potential offers are at the figure the government is looking for. Grand Bahamians rejoice, a major investment making its way to the nation's second city. Carnival Cruise Line President Christine Duffy announcing today that Carnival will be investing some $200 million into a new Grand Bahama cruise port, bringing employment opportunities for Bahamians.
So we are moving towards an opportunity to develop a project in Grand Bahama, which we will staff with Bahamian employees as well as businesses that will be able to be part of that destination that we create in partnership with Grand Bahama. And then also, as we said, in Half Moon Cay, the opportunity to be able to build a pier which will allow us to bring our newest larger ships, which carry more guests, to Bahamas on more regular itineraries. So part of this investment and partnership is looking toward the future, where we will be able to bring more ships to more places in the Bahamas. And that will mean the benefit for jobs and economic impact to the Bahamians.
Mrs. Duffy noted that this new port is one where they would bring Carnival cruise ships and other Carnival Corporation ships with guests as part of an overall itinerary in the Bahamas. When asked for a timeline for the project, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Tourism, Investments and Aviation, Chester Cooper, says that they are currently in the advanced stages of this project, and he expects Minister for Grand Bahama, Ginger Moxie, to make a formal announcement during the Grand Bahama Business Outlook scheduled for March 17th. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville says despite recent announcements of the relaxation of COVID-19 restrictions by the Prime Minister, persons should still be cautious. He spoke with reporters following the morning sessions of Parliament on Wednesday.
Well, certainly we cannot call it an endemic yet, but we are definitely pleased with the way the numbers are going down and cases at the hospital are actually declining. For us, we must still be cautious and we must still be able to relax some of the present rules, but we need to do it in stages. Always taking into
The Prime Minister noted that events such as in-person conference, regattas, recitals, drive-through cookouts, seminars, or workshops will not require submissions for review and approval by the advisory committee. He also noted that restrictions related to large events will also be eased. This is what the Tall Pines MP says about concerts, parties, and large gatherings.
No, they will have to go through the normal application process. That is clear in the new amended rules that you would get shortly. It'll speak specifically about what events still need to be applied. We still need to apply to the EOC 4, but we've clearly outlined things that we have actually given up now, and people can go ahead and have them done.
The minister shared that public transportation will now be at 100% occupancy with new changes. Dr. Darville also says that with the country still being at a level 4 travel advisory with the CDC, that health officials are partnering with the CDC and discussions are moving in the right direction. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.